Okay, so yesterday we talked about decimals. Alright, decimals. We did a little bit with fractions, and then we started talking about decimals. And with decimals, we talked about how we're going to say that this is just one thing. Okay, it's not 100 things, like we've known of it before, but it's just one thing. And in this one thing, how many parts did we say there were? Raise your hand, please. How many parts did we say there were?
100.
There's 100 parts of this one thing. So this is like we've got a pizza. We split it up 100 ways. It's like we have a dollar bill, and we make it 100 pennies. Okay? So that's what we talked about with decimals. Now, when we talk about place value, I want you to tell me, if I just write this here, what place is this? Yes.
Ones.
This is the ones place. So anything in this place is going to be equal to that number. So I'm going to put a 2 here. Okay. What place is this? Yes. The tens place. Okay. So anything in this box is going to be equal to that number times 10. All right? So I'll put a 3 here. What does a 3 in this place mean? What does a 3 mean? Yes. It means 30. Good. And how about this? What place is this? What place is this? Yes. It's the hundreds. Good. And whatever number is here means this number times 100. Okay, so what does this number really mean? What does this number really mean? Yes.
400.
400. Okay, so if we read this number, how do we read it? Yes.
432.
432. Okay, now I've told you before, there's a hidden decimal in every number, even if it's not written. I want somebody to tell me where I'm going to find the decimal in this number. Am I going to find it before the hundreds, after the hundreds, after the tens, after the ones, or somewhere else? Yes.
Before the 100.
Okay, so if I put the decimal point here, then I would have 0.432. Okay, so that means it's less than one of these. All right, that was good thinking. Good thinking, because we've worked with some numbers that look like that. Yes.
After the ones.
Okay, exactly. The hidden decimal always goes after the ones. So this number is the exact same as this number. It's the exact same. Look at the here, not my hand. It's the exact same. Okay, and I could put zeros after that. Remember, we talked about that yesterday. How many zeros can I put after that? How many zeros could I put? Yes.
More than 1,662.
Many as I can fit, right? Many as I want. Is that going to be equal to this still? It is. It's the exact same. We're going to start talking about 2 new place values today that we haven't talked about before, but you've seen before and we've worked with a little bit. They're on the right-hand side of the decimal. Okay? So all the place values we've talked about have been on the left-hand side of the decimal. Well, we need to start talking about a couple of place values on the right-hand side of the decimal. Okay? So, this place value here, I'm going to tell you, actually, this is the place that it represents. And I want to know, does anybody have any thoughts about what this place value might be? What it might be? Yes?
Didn't we talk about, like, when you run out of, like, space on your paper, you go after the decimal and put, like, a little bit higher numbers after the decimal?
I'm not sure. Let's get back to that question, okay? So, this place value here is actually called tenths place. Okay? Now, look very carefully at how I spell this. Tenths. See how I have a TH in there? This TH is so important because it's the difference between 10 of these or one of these. Just a piece. Okay, if this is my ones, this is 10 of those, right? This is a tenth of those. Which is bigger, tenths or tens? Take a look at which is bigger. Give me a thumbs up if you think tenths is bigger. Give me a thumbs up if you think tens is bigger. You are absolutely right. Tens is much bigger than tenths because tenths is only a tiny piece of 1. It's actually, tenths is 1/10. That's where we get that. You've probably heard of 1/10 before. Okay? And if I have more than 1 in this place, it would be that number. 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10. Okay? And you can see what that looks like by here. If you want to compare it. How many tenths do I have here? If I use this representation. How many tenths do I have here? Yes. 3. 3/10. Okay? So I could write that there if I want. And then this would mean 3 of those tenths. Okay? Now, if this place is tens and this place is tenths, does anybody have any idea what this place might be? Okay, I'll tell you, it kind of looks like a mirror, except the TH. It kind of looks like a mirror. Does anyone have any thoughts about what this place might be? Yes?
A hundredth.
Hundredths. Good, very good. Okay, so I'm going to write it just like I would write hundreds, except I'm going to do hundredths. Hundredths place. Okay, so it goes all the way the same, except there's the TH in there. Okay, now when I write this, it's going to mean 1 of these. This right here is 1/100th. 1/100th. So what do you think is going to be bigger? 100 of these or 1/100th? Imagine imagine 100 of these and then imagine 1/100th. Which is bigger, do you think? Yes. Hundreds, much bigger. Hundredths is tiny. Okay? So I'm wondering if you see a pattern here. If you see a pattern, if I have, so this is 1, then I have 10 of these, and I have 100 of these. Okay? This is my tenths. I have 10 of these. I have 10 little ones, right? 1/10, 1/100th. Are you noticing a pattern?
Mm-hmm.
What's happening to these numbers as I go to the right? Yes?
They're getting tinier.
They're getting tinier. What happens to these numbers as I go to the left?
They get higher.
They get higher. Yeah. So sometimes they'll try to trick you on your test, or some problem will ask you, which number is bigger? You might have 65 digits over here and just 1 big digit over here, or 2, and it's going to say which is bigger. Some kids get tricked because they think more digits means a higher number. That's not true if these digits are on the right side of the decimal point. Okay? Doesn't matter how many we have. If you've got digits over here, it's not bigger than this. No matter how many of them there are. Is everyone looking up here so that you can see? All the digits over here that you can fit are not bigger than this. Okay? It might seem strange to you because we're used to seeing big numbers mean big, big things. Okay? And when you do this, if we say I've got 5 of these, I'm going to have 5 hundredths. Okay, so I'm going to put 5 hundredths here. And that, in fractions, is going to be 5 over 100. You can think about it that way. So if I was talking about this in terms of dollars and cents, how many dollars and cents would I have? Raise your hand. Yes? And 35 cents. So you can think of anything on the other side of this decimal in these first 2 places, in the tenths and the hundredths place, as cents, like money. Okay? You can think of, you've heard of dollars and cents notation. Okay, so when you go to work in your workbook today on page 117, you will see a thing that looks like this, okay? And it will also want you to tell how many hundredths there are, how many tenths, how many, and how many hundredths go with that. It's going to want you to break it up. So the example is 13 hundredths. If I have 13 hundredths, how many tenths is that? 13 hundredths is how many tenths and how many hundredths? That's what it's going to ask you to do. Okay? How many tenths and how many hundredths is that in 13 hundredths? How many tenths in here do you see? How many tenths? Yes? 1/10. Okay? And so if we have 1/10, how many hundredths are there? How many hundredths are there? Yes?
1.
We have 1/10. How many hundredths? How many hundredths? You're absolutely right. Good. Nice show of fingers. 3. Excellent. So 1/10 and 3 hundredths. You're actually going to get to pick your own number of hundredths. Okay? You can pick any number of hundredths you want. All right? From 1 to 99 hundredths. Okay? You have 5 or 6 different examples that you're going to try. Okay? And if you have questions, I will come around and answer them. All right? I'd like you to get to work.